Good evening, and welcome to the Positional Sports Talk Show post, live streaming on Facebook Live, Twitch, and our Positional Sports Talk Show YouTube channel. We are a sports talk show made for the fans, from the perspective of fans, presented by lifelong sports fans. We will provide our opinions and positions on the hottest topics in sports this evening. My name is Big Reg, and I'm joined by my usual partners in crime. J3, what's going on, my brother? Glad to have you in the building this evening.
What's up, fellas? Good to see y'all again.
What's up, J3?
Sense is in the building. What's going on, Sense?
What's up, fellas? At the end of the show, I'll be collecting donations for the Help Russell Westbrook Find a Jump Shot Foundation. If you could, kindly give, it'd be much appreciated.
I hear that.
Don't hold your breath on that one.
Yeah, maybe we'll hit the rumor mill when we hit the NBA. I heard a couple of rumors about Mr. Westbrook. And my man, Big Ed, what's going on, my brother? How you feeling this evening?
Man, I'm lucky to be alive. I just got back from Happy Valley. But yeah, it's all good. Good to see all these friendly faces. What's up, Sense, J3, Big Reg? Let's do it.
Yay.
This evening, we're going to do some combat sports. We're going to do college football. Of course, we got to talk NFL, do a little NBA, and then, of course, our final post of the evening. So, as always, we appreciate you tuning in. Please sit back, relax, and enjoy posts on the Positional Sports Talk Show channel. But before we start, we got to give a mad shout out to our man, Professor's baseball team. The Atlanta Braves pulled it out, won the World Series 4-2 over the Houston Astros, and they did it in emphatic fashion. I mean, 7-0 in a closeout game.
Yeah.
I mean, the pitching staff stepped up. The middle relievers came in and held it down, and they closed it out. So hats off to the Atlanta Braves. I mean,
the curse has been lifted.
If you think about it, before the trade deadline in major leagues, they had a 5% chance to make the playoffs. They went from 5% chance to make the playoffs, traded for 3 outfielders, and everybody, a lot of people's like, why are you trading for 3 outfielders? We know your star went there 3, but all of them contributed when they needed to, and now they're World Series champs. So, as Sid says, is the curse gone?
That's a start.
Does that mean we looking for good news for? Or we getting the college football? But that's what you're saying.
I don't think there was ever a curse because we see the problem with our sports and society. We measure success based on championships, but it doesn't always need. Everyone can't win. There can only be one champion. But the Braves, like in yesteryear, when they had Smoltz and Glavine, etc. They had a sustained success over multiple years. So I don't think it was a curse. They did have a championship out with that crew, not as many as they like, but hey, you can't win them all.
Yeah, I just meant more so in Atlanta city lore with Atlanta holding that 25-point lead in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. The Atlanta Hawks not coming through.
Absolutely. Losing the
Alabama. They threw that George. That's right. So before we start talking about the football stuff, again, hats off to Atlanta Braves. Maybe they break the curse. We will see. But great job. Let's talk about combat sports. I know all y'all were busy running around. Ed was up in the mountains. Since had some things he's running around with. So I don't know how much y'all got to check out. But man, there were some battles in combat sports this weekend. Let's start with boxing. And it actually started Friday night. For anybody who's a boxing fan, and I know y'all gonna say, oh, here you go again. One of the fights of the year happened Friday night. Michaela Meyer versus Maeva Hamadouche for the women's junior lightweight title. These two women, both title holders for multiple years, went toe-to-toe from the start. As soon as they went ding-ding in round 1 through the 10th round, banging. Banging. If you go online, Google it, you can probably catch it. It was on ESPN Plus, so I'm sure you can probably catch it now. It was a fabulous fight. The best women's boxing match I've ever seen.
What?
Because generally speaking, you'll see a one-sided fight or another. This was two skilled boxers doing their thing.
Wow.
And battling and not backing up. Now, Michaela Meyer stepped up about fourth, fifth round. You can see that she was a little more classed as an actual boxer. So she started placing her punches a little better, started slipping some. But Hamadouche, who was from, I believe she was from France, just kept coming. Just pure pressure fighter, just kept coming. She's a police officer in her 9 to 5. She wasn't giving an inch. Man, fabulous fight. Do yourself a favor.
Put that in there.
They're 2-minute rounds. It's 10 rounds. So it takes you about 35 minutes to see the fight from beginning to end. Check it out.
Okay.
Then we followed it up Saturday with the unification of the super middleweight. Saul Canelo Alvarez against my man Caleb Sweethand Plant. And
no contest.
Sweethands fought the wrong fight. I think I said last week, as long as he doesn't allow Canelo to bully him, he would have a chance. And while he tried to keep his distance, he kept backing up into the ropes, into the corners. And Canelo just slowly warmed down, digging to the body. I got to give it to Canelo.
I was going to say,
everything he throws is bad intentions, period.
Dare we say this is he on possible Mayweather status as best pound for pound right now in the game?
Well, he's already, depending on which list you like, he is either ranked number 1 or number 2 in the pound for pound list. It's generally between him and Terrence Bud Crawford. But with him unifying a weight class, being only the 7th male ever to have all 4 belts in the 4-belt era.
Wow.
And do it at 168, the first to ever do it at 168. It was huge. So, yeah, it was, he put on a show, and come 9th, 10th round, Plant just didn't have nowhere to go. And he started hurting him, and he hurt him in the 10th and finished him in 11th. It was,
Wow. My only question now is who is like the next worthy opponent for him? Who can see him?
Well, that's a good question. Canelo says he's going to take a little break because Canelo actually fought 4 times this year. He won all 4 of those belts in 2021.
Man, that's impressive. That's
so
impressive.
He said he's going to take a little time. Expect him. He usually fights around Cinco de Mayo. So he says look for him May 2022. So
yeah, but if he does, who's he going to fight?
Who's he going to fight?
There is a young man that fights this weekend who is the number 2 ranked fighter at that weight class. Actually had one of the belts twice and never lost him in the ring. Undefeated David Benavidez fights Karan Davis this weekend. The winner of that fight will probably get the Canelo fight in May 22.
Okay.
Benavidez is a bad dude. He lost his belt the first time because of a drug situation, and it wasn't performance enhancing. And then the second time he lost when COVID first happened. He won the belt back, was supposed to defend the belt, and lost his belt on a scale because that was when they first started doing the boxing, and he went into the hotel seclusion, couldn't work out in the gym, was supposed to work out in his room, and he didn't make weight. Won the fight. He's still undefeated. So 2 stupid things that he did. So I think that's the best fight at 168.
I also heard Charlo was calling him out too.
Yeah, Charlo chasing that check.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's good money though.
Do he want that smoke though? Can he handle that smoke though?
Charlo say he gonna go up to 168 and try to chase him. I don't know if that's a good. That's hard money.
Unless he put on some muscle.
That's some hard money. And then Canelo kept winning. They announced Friday that Canelo opened up his own gym with his trainer Eddie Reynoso out in San Diego. They just signed Virgil Ortiz, announced that he was leaving Robert Garcia's gym and coming over to Canelo's gym. So you got an up-and-coming welterweight who's starting to call out the big dogs in the welterweight division. So they just had one of them weekends. It was just win, 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 no matter what.
Yes.
I don't know why fighters call each other out when they never fight each other.
Show, just for show, just for show.
When you gonna give me a title shot? When you going? Yeah, all that.
Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing is trying to change that. And even when he's not necessarily directly involved, he's been doing some things back scenes to try to get PBC and Top Rank to work together. Canelo is doing it by himself because remember, Canelo was with DAZN and with Golden Boy, and he had to sue them to get out of his contract. Now Canelo's a free agent. He basically fights on one-fight contracts where they can co-promote with his promotion company.
Mayweather status.
So you starting to see some of these guys take control of what's going on so that they can make the big fights. And don't forget, November 20th, we finally got a top-ranked PBC fight at welterweight. It's not the one we wanted, but maybe that's opens the door to get that done.
Yeah.
So, as I mentioned, this Saturday, David Benavidez, Karan Davis, 168. That's on Showtime. There's also another fight on DAZN. Kid Galahad defends his IBF featherweight title against Kiko Martinez. And then there's Terry Harper defends her part of the women's junior lightweight title against Alicia Baumgardner. And so some good fights this weekend to check out. Keep you boxing fans entertained. Now let's talk about my man Dana White and UFC. Dana White put on 2 premier UFC shows in the span of 8 days. He did UFC 267 in Abu Dhabi. The following Saturday, dropped UFC 268, Madison Square Garden. Kamaru Usman fighting Kobe Covington.
I hate him.
Yeah. It's an act, but he sells it very well. But he's a hell of a fighter. He has given Usman his best 2 matches since he's been in the UFC. And Usman is undefeated in the UFC. If you didn't see that fight, it was a 5-round war. They went back and forth. He rocked Usman a couple of times, but Usman outclassed him in the end. Got the unanimous victory decision. But again, it was a tough 5-round fight. Then Usman started talking crazy. You see, people start chasing money. And again, all money ain't good money. Because he said he want Dana to work with him to put together a super bout with him and Canelo.
I heard that. Yeah. No.
Dana said, I just watched the Canelo fight.
Like, have we
Kamar don't want none of that.
Have we not learned from McGregor trying to do that? Like, come on.
Yes,
he said, now, if Canelo wants to come to the UFC and fight under our rules, we can make that happen. But, yeah, I'm not sending my man over there to get destroyed.
Rock to sleep.
In the co-main event, another rematch, Rose Namajunas fought Zhang Weili. Zhang Weili lost her title in April. First round, Rose caught her with a left kick to the head she never saw, nighty-night. So this whole time she's been like, she won, but I can't respect that win. That was a flash knockout. That can happen to anybody. You just get caught, but she didn't beat me over 3 or 5 rounds. So Rose proved it to her. Rose beat over 5 rounds. Another tough, gritty fight. Willie probably won the first 2 rounds. Then Rose took control, actually started taking her down and wrestling the stronger, bigger woman and holding it down. So, I mean, another great fight. And it's time for people to start talking about Rose as the greatest women's strawweight champion of all time. She's now beat Wee Lee twice. Wee Lee was the one who beat Joanna Jędrzejczyk, who was the boss in one of the most brutal fights ever, where Joanna had this big old hematoma on her forehead. Rose beat Joanna twice, and the only person that she's lost to recently, Jessica Andrade, she lost because Jessica Andrade, they got into a clinch. Jessica picked her up and literally dumped on the back of her neck and knocked her out.
Damn.
So she avenged that real quick and took her out. So she the baddest thing out there. Right now, the women's games got 3 champions. There's nobody out there I think can mess with. But again, with the UFC, all it takes is one shot and you go to sleep.
Yeah, man. I saw one meme. It was on social media. I think it was from one of the undercards where a dude, like it was a still shot of a dude getting a foot straight to his face, like toes, like right, and then you can see the impact. Like
they have what they call a preliminary, and then they have the undercard, and then the main event. The last 2 fights of the preliminary and the 4 fights on the undercard all ended in knockouts within the first 2 rounds.
Damn.
People was going to sleep.
Yeah, it's like carnage there, like true carnage.
But the fight of the night was the first bout on the main pay-per-view card. Justin Gaethje and Michael Chandler went toe-to-toe for 3 rounds. And when I say this looked like Rock'em Sock'em Robot, these 2 dudes just stood there, rocking each other, getting hit, staggering back, come back, punch me some more. Again, if that was the fight of the year I've seen in UFC, it was so brutal that after the fight, because they get so jacked up in adrenaline, and by the time you see them starting to walk out the cage, you start seeing them limp because they start feeling the injuries. They had to take both of them straight to the hospital. No press conference. Yeah, we getting y'all into the ambulance. Y'all go get checked out and stay for the evening. So
wow,
Lord,
sound like a slugfest,
right?
Oh, not only did they get paid, they both got $50,000 bonuses for performance of the night. And when I mean they slugged it out, they slugged it out. So for you boxing fans who haven't quite yet made the leap to check out UFC, do yourself a favor. Gaethje Chandler. Google it. I'm sure you can find it somewhere. It's worth your 30 minutes of time.
Say less.
All right, so that gives us all our combat sports. The next big UFC event, while they've got some good matches coming up for over the next few weeks, they've got another big event in December 11th, where they've got, believe it's Israel Adesanya, I think, is fighting again. And no. It's a title fight. I can't think of his name. I'll have it for you next week. But December 11th, another big UFC pay-per-view call. Let's get into this college football, fellas.
Let's.
I know we've been talking, at least I've been talking all year, saying there's really only one dominant team, one team that looks like they ready for prime time. That's still the same. Georgia doing their thing.
Georgia.
Just pounced Missouri 43-6. Their defense is ridiculous. Even though they got an issue, they lost their middle linebacker for off the field issues, and I'll just leave it at that. But that young man may be in some very serious problems, but they still dominant. But everybody else
sucks.
Anybody could get got.
How many times are teams going to show up and underestimate these other teams like they better than they are?
Mm-hmm.
Is nobody paying attention to what's been going on in the top 25 all year?
Well, I think that applies to a lot of these. I don't think it applies to the Alabama and LSU game. I just think that, and I've said it. I've talked to you in private, and I'll say it now. I just think that Nick Saban makes mistakes like everyone else, and I believe that the offensive line coach and the offensive coordinator were colossal mistakes on his part, because they didn't stop learning how to play overnight.
Right.
They didn't all of a sudden drop to 2 stars and 1 stars overnight. They're 5 and 4 stars all along that offensive line. But if you don't, if you're not getting proper instruction, or if the instruction isn't getting through, then you change it or you live with the results. Right now, Alabama is living with the results. The Michigan State Purdue game, I don't think you said it. Every year Purdue puts on shows. Every year Purdue puts on shows.
That was a good game.
That was a real good game. Well, how did this happen? Well, you got.
Purdue gets up for the big games. They don't get up for every game, but for the big games, they get up. And that LSU Alabama also had another layer to it. This was the coach's last big game, and they was trying to send him out on top. I hear you, Anthony. The question is, you say Alabama needs to be lower. Who do you want higher? Because Oklahoma has looked terrible all year, even though they're undefeated. I know you're not going to say Cincinnati, who's just barely beat their last 3 teams who have a combined record of, I think, 4 and like 20-something. Ohio State, who lost at home to Oregon. Oregon? You think Oregon can beat Alabama? Stop it.
See, a lot of these people, particularly mainstream media, a lot of them want Alabama to say, "Hey, well, why is Alabama still ranked 2, or why is Alabama even in the top 4 or 5 after they lost at Texas A&M?" But okay, well, who do you think can beat them? So that's basically all these polls are. Like they're looking at the rosters. They're looking at the teams that they've played, and they're saying, okay, well, if they're head-to-head, will this team beat that team? And if you look at, say, Cincinnati, they're undefeated. They're the highest ranked. No, outside of Georgia, they're the highest ranked undefeated team currently.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do you think Cincinnati, who features Alabama's reject fourth string running back as their star, do you think that they can go into Tuscaloosa and beat Alabama? No, they can't. No, they can't.
They can't have Alabama come to Cincinnati and beat them. They just barely beat Tulsa.
Yeah. So
the week before that, I forget who they played. They had to struggle and barely beat Navy.
Michigan State, we saw what they did. They lost to an unranked Purdue team. No shame. Purdue does it every year. Ohio State, like you mentioned, they've lost already at home to Oregon, who in turn lost to
Washington.
So,
yeah, the only dominant team out there is Georgia, and we understand.
No. Oregon didn't lose to Washington, did they? Oregon lost to.
No, I'm sorry. It was
Stanford.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right. My bad. So if not Bama, then who?
Yeah.
Is my question for you, Price. If not Bama, then who? Yeah. And if you look at that Texas A&M loss, that they lost at Texas A&M in front of 100,000 people, where it was the first big game that they played in almost 2 years in front of a crowd like that, with a young quarterback and a young defense, and still was in that game at the end.
As time expired. They lost as time expired.
And you got Texas A&M who hasn't lost since. Just saying. Just saying. So again, Anthony, if not Bama, then who? Who would you like above them?
The chat box is buzzing today.
Yes, it is.
So
well, one thing I want to give you props on, Big Reg, also a game that you had called. I think it was the UNC.
I
North
said
Carolina,
it was
Wake Forest.
was going to get them. We happily got rid of the ACC with that.
Right.
With
but
that,
Wake Forest is the UNC of last year. Wake Forest was undefeated for a few games, and they just wanted to. They had to put the ACC in there somewhere since Clemson is pretty much. I don't. Do they still play? I mean, they're still on the schedule. But since Clemson has disappeared, UNC is underachieved this year for what they were projecting them to be. So Wake Forest was undefeated. Well, they must be in the top 10. They're ACC. They must be in the top 10.
Yeah, I was surprised to see them ranked as high as they were at number 9. That's crazy.
Well, we saw that they truly don't play defense. When you lose a game 58-55, and it's to North Carolina, who's been struggling all year.
Right.
No defense.
None.
So it'll be
interesting. Georgia's the cream of the crop right now, though.
Yeah. Head and shoulders above the rest. Their offense, which I was concerned about earlier year, is getting better week in, week out. It's going to be interesting to see what Kirby does because their transfer quarterback is supposedly close to being ready to play. So are they going to take out the local guy who's been starting most of the year, who's made the offense better, to put in this guy? Because, Kirby doesn't make break decisions all the time. That's how Justin Fields ended up out of there.
Although Kirby has an elite offensive line, Daniels can't move, and he's injury prone. So he's injury prone. He got hurt. That's how he lost his job at Southern Cal. He got hurt, and that kid Slovis came in. The rest is history. Then he went to Georgia. When he got to Georgia, by the time he started being able to play, immediately gets hurt. Stetson takes over, and so they were flip-flopping all last year. And again, this year, he was supposed to be the man, injured. Stetson took over. And actually, the guy, I have to give it to Georgia's quarterback. He does look a lot better than he did last year. A lot better.
To answer your question, BJ, in my opinion, if Alabama runs the table and meets Georgia in the SEC championship, if it's a close game against Georgia, I think Alabama still might make the top 4, depending on what happens with these other teams. Yeah. If it's a close game. Yeah. But it's also going to depend on what happens to these other teams. A 2-loss Alabama probably gets in over undefeated Cincinnati if they keep playing the way they're playing. Because it's just their division is terrible. Their conference is terrible. So people aren't going to take them serious. Ohio State still controls their destiny if they run the table and win the Big Ten. Michigan can actually still get in it if they somehow beat Ohio State.
Yeah.
And Michigan State loses again. They still going to need Michigan State to lose again.
I still think
Michigan State got to see Ohio State too, right?
Right. So Ohio State's got 2 brutal games coming.
Yeah.
And both of them got to see Ohio State. Oklahoma, we jumping the gun, but they are upset alert this weekend because undefeated Oklahoma goes to Baylor.
Oh.
And it's not Baylor the way they used to be. Baylor is a physical, gritty team that Oklahoma hates playing against. Oh, yeah. So this might be the week, and they still got to deal with Oklahoma State in the last game of the year. So
Oklahoma's not going undefeated.
So if they don't go undefeated, there goes the Big Ten more than likely, unless Oklahoma State beats them and then beats them again in the championship game.
Yeah, I don't see that. I think Oklahoma might lose this weekend to Baylor.
So we're talking about upsets.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
I'm sorry.
I saw it. I was like,
I'm sorry, man.
How? Man?
I'm not saying they gonna lose, but if y'all don't know, I'm not a betting man. But when I give you all these tidbits,
Reg bombs.
take a look at the lines, and you might want to. You can make if somebody been following me and been putting some money down.
I'm going to put
they
some
been
money
making
on it.
money.
I bet.
Okay, yeah, I should. I'm gonna take that.
But upset alert: Michigan at Penn State. Penn State was off last week.
Well, they played Maryland.
And
Penn State was off last week.
Yeah, Penn State fell off in the rankings.
That's terrible.
The quarterback looks like he's healthy again. That's going to be a tough one.
No,
I just gave you.
Come into Happy Valley and make it unhappy.
Oklahoma at Baylor.
Yeah, I'll take that one.
Mississippi State at Auburn. Auburn just had a humiliating loss.
That was horrible.
I think they're going to. And last but not least, I don't think they're going to win this game. But Purdue with their offense is going to give Ohio State all they want and more. Because Ohio State's defense, you haven't been able to see it the last few weeks because they haven't been playing anybody in the Big Ten that could actually throw the ball. Purdue's quarterback dropped 400 and something yards last weekend.
Giant killers.
When they did Michigan State. So they're going to come in and they're going to attack that defense. And it's going to put pressure on Ohio State's offense. And when that happens, they tend to turn the ball over a little bit. So
ain't nothing worse with a team than a team with nothing to lose.
Just some things to keep your eye out for. And just a good game. I don't have any predictions on it. Texas A&M at Ole Miss, 7 p.m. ESPN. Should be another good game. So that's all we got for you for college football. After this week, the following 2 weeks are just going to be brutal for teams getting squared away for their conference championship battle. So sit back and relax. Let's talk a little NFL, fellas. Real quick, some of the key injuries that happened. Your boy Trevor Lawrence sprained his ankle near the end of the game. They say he's day-to-day. They think he's going to be able to play. But if you're using Trevor Lawrence in your fantasy leagues or you betting the Jaguars, you got other issues that you might want to talk to somebody about. But just letting you know. Kyler Murray, ankle still not right. And based on what happened in their game last week, there's a good chance Kyler might sit out another week because I think the Cardinals got visions of doing something big this year. So they're not going to rush him.
Colt McCoy.
Of all people, Lord,
right?
They had to rely on that running game too. Thankfully, that
we're gonna talk about that running game in a second because that's gonna make Ed's stomach turn a little bit.
No, it ain't because I got something for you.
Man, if Tua didn't have bad luck, I don't think he had any luck at all.
And I started that fool. Wow.
You wasn't paying attention?
Clearly. Because
they announced early Sunday that he wasn't going to play.
Yeah, no. I stuck him in with confidence.
Hairline fracture of his middle finger. They say he's getting better, but they don't know if he's going to play this week. And dangerous Russell Wilson is returning this week. He's back 2 weeks earlier than they expected. So we will see. But the Cardinals, let's talk about them Cardinals. Our boy Colt McCoy. First of all, how many people realize Colt was still in the league?
Not me.
Colt been cashing paychecks for 12 years now.
We are
13 years.
You shouldn't be surprised.
He's the epitome of a journeyman quarterback.
No.
Well, the Cardinals.
He's the epitome of
journeyman white quarterback.
White privilege.
He got sugarcoated.
There's only one black journeyman quarterback. That's Josh Johnson.
Yeah.
That's it.
And he in and out of the league.
Yeah.
He don't just stay in the league. They bring him back when break glass when needed. Hey, Josh, what you doing? So with the Cardinals, no Murray, no D-Hop,
no Green,
no AJ Green. We already know that they're missing the big fella off the defensive line who hurt himself a couple of weeks ago. And Colt McCoy and James Conner went to work on the 49ers.
James Conner. Wait a minute. Did
he used to play for the Steelers,
black and gold? What?
Yeah, but here's the problem with James Conner. He won't be healthy next week. He won't be. Watch. You heard it from me first. He will not be healthy.
I mean, that name just sounds familiar. I just, I thought that was black and gold.
I would tell you though, he looked real good because the Cardinals lost their starting running back who went out with a little Chase Edmonds got a high ankle sprain, so he's going to be out for, they say, estimate 3 to 6 weeks. So,
and I guarantee you, Connor won't start those 3 to 6 weeks.
Don't be putting that bad juju on him. Ed.
Wow!
But when he did play, he went to work, bro.
Yeah, when he plays, he'll put in that work, but he's not going to play for 3 to 6 weeks. BJ, back me up on this.
three TDs.
He can't stay healthy.
Maybe that change of number brought him back to his college days.
Yeah, he stayed hurt in college, which saved his life, by the way, by getting hurt.
173 yards, total offense. He put in work. And old Colt McCoy was just dropping them dimes. Just enough. But the question is, when do we going to really start having a serious question about Shanahan?
It's coming.
He had one good year.
It's coming.
He always does.
One good year.
You know, some people are better off as coordinators.
Yeah.
Because the 49ers, who everybody thought was going to be a possible Super Bowl contender, definitely number 2 in the NFC West, they are terrible.
But if you think about it, their running backs have stayed hurt. Kittle hasn't been healthy in 2 years. They have one receiver, and he's in and out of the lineup, Samuel. So, I mean, I'm not defending Kyle Shanahan, obviously, but that team has been their skill position players, and then he has Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, that
all his fault.
That's true. That might be true.
Or
John Lynch's, who's responsible for building the roster.
I hear you, but
Anthony's
they
point,
put them in at the same time. Right. So John Lynch ain't making no big moves that Cal don't like.
To Anthony's point, though, it wouldn't be such a bad idea for Shanahan to go to the NCAA, maybe USC.
He ain't going there. He white privilege. He lose that job and go somewhere else.
Him with that offense can do some things at USC, I think.
We will see.
That play calling. Yeah.
We will see. Speaking of our man Josh Johnson, I gotta give a shout out to Josh Johnson. The Colts beat the Jets. The Jets aren't good, but again, break glass when needed. We ain't got nobody else. Hey, what's Johnson doing? They cut him before the season started because they didn't want to pay him his guaranteed contract for the year. Bought him back, I think, after 2 weeks. So now he's on a week-to-week deal. But Josh Johnson, 27 for 41, 317 yards, 3 TDs on a terrible Jets team. If anybody would have ever given this young man an actual legitimate shot and built an offense around his strong capabilities, he could have been a legitimate NFL quarterback. It's just terrible. Your boy Carson Wentz had a decent day, but the real day was Jonathan Taylor.
Got him.
That dude's a monster. All right. Some folks listening to this ain't gonna like this. How about them Cowboys? They were down 30-0.
They were
late in the fourth quarter.
The Bears?
No, the Broncos. Just as bad.
The Broncos, my bad. The Broncos.
30-0 late in the fourth quarter. Yeah. They actually had their franchise quarterback who's just coming back from an injury playing in the fourth quarter to score some garbage points. What in the hell is going on?
Teddy Bridgewater gave him that work.
Lack of coaching.
Yeah, I have to say that because Dallas just was not prepared. Dak looked like some garbage, and I like Dak, but he looked like some garbage. Yeah, I don't know. I have to say they just weren't ready to play.
They brought him back too soon.
You know, but then again,
the whole team wasn't ready to play though.
But you know, again, we really don't talk about this much, but you know, it's the NFL. Every player in the NFL is good. Now there's levels of good, but at some point in their lives, each one of those players was the man.
Yeah.
So in the NFL, this goes to what J3 just said. In the NFL, it's a lot of times it is X's and O's because the talent is relatively even. It really is. Now we might not see that talent develop properly or executed properly, but it's pretty much even across the board. And a lot of times it comes down to coaching. And Mike McCarthy sucks. He sucks.
Agreed.
So
it's amazing. But yeah, you're right on it. There's not this big separation between these teams the way they used to be. We've been talking about all year how NFL likes parity. They pretty much got it close. Now the NFC's got a few heavyweights still out there, but the AFC is wide,
especially the AFC West.
I mean, the Buffalo Bills. So everybody say, okay, Buffalo going to take that. How you going to lose to the Jacksonville Jaguars 9-6?
And ironically enough,
that's all coaching right there. You can't tell me that's not coaching. You can't tell me that's not coaching. Because the offense that they have, they should have blew them out the water.
The wrong Josh Allen beasted out.
Right.
And did he beast out?
Yeah.
Multiple sacks, interception, and fumble recovery.
Yeah.
I mean, so all these teams start, smelling themselves and getting too far ahead of themselves. And it's ridiculous. Cincinnati's another one.
Yeah. Oh, man. Cleveland,
like Cincinnati, try to step up and make their claim to the AFC North, and your boy Baker out there strutting like he's doing something when the real work was done by Nick Chubb.
No, Baker threw some touchdowns. Let's give him his props, man. To people,
he got a late bomb touchdown that gave him a third of his yards because they couldn't stop Nick Chubb, and they finally brought everybody up. And Peoples-Jones got behind the guy and he threw one good pass.
Yep. Well, Baker will be tested next Sunday because Chubb, word on the street, has just got tested positive for COVID. So
yeah, now he is vaccinated. So as long as he doesn't have symptoms and he can test negative twice within a 24-hour period, he still got a chance to play. But we will see. Yeah, this COVID is real, folks. Don't forget about it. We started hearing more and more teams, NBA, NFL, NHL, where players are popping up positive again, even vaccinated players. So they traveling around, doing things like everything's supposed to be okay. Right. Immunized. Yeah,
right.
Immunized. Yeah, I don't even want to give that any more time.
No said.
Let's talk about Lamar. What Lamar's doing with the Ravens this year?
No credit. Getting no credit.
Just putting them on the back.
He's set to win another MVP, but
6-2. He is the running game.
He absolutely is.
He's got 600 yards rushing on the season, halfway through the season. He's also thrown for 2,200 yards.
Man.
So he's on the pace for 45 and 12.
He better get paid.
With no contract.
None.
No contract.
None.
What's that tell you?
Only in America. Only in America.
The Shoddy better back up that Brinks truck at the end of the season.
Yeah. Each week they wait is just going to be a matter of how worse it's going to get. Because he's starting to say, hey, I want that Mahomes number. It used to be the 40 number. Well, then Josh Allen got 42.
Yeah, Josh Allen got the Mahomes number.
He got 42. He ain't quite get Mahomes.
Close enough.
Lamar keep this up. Lamar will be like, I want to be the number one highest paid player.
Yeah, but see, it shouldn't even got this far.
I agree. And it's going to cost the Ravens more money. I agree. Why does it always take, extraordinary circumstances,
Watch, they're gonna mess around. Watch them mess around and not sign. Watch something funny go down. He end up sitting out. I'm telling you, watch.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't put it past. I don't trust these executives these days because they just mishandle these athletes, certain athletes. They just mishandle them, and
So you don't pay him and let him go somewhere else?
He can't go nowhere. They can franchise him. They're not gonna let him walk.
Yeah, they can play that game with him and piss him off. And Lamar's a good game. I don't think that's going to happen. Lamar's going to get somewhere between $42 and $46 million.
He'll get his money
by the end of the year.
He'll get his money.
They could have had him for 40. And it's not the player's responsibility to worry about how the team manages the cap. That's not their job. And the fact that the cap is getting ready to go up substantially over the next 3 to 5 years, and see that shouldn't hurt them from continue to build a good team.
Yeah, and what people don't understand is, he definitely shouldn't be worried about the cap because these 3, 4, 5 years that he's on this rookie contract, he's actually and starring. He's actually helping the team because they can bring in talent and sign these people with the understanding that okay, we can pay these guys now, but in the meantime, we still have to draft and develop players because eventually he's going to have to get paid because he paid his dues, so to speak.
Exactly.
He helped the franchise get to this point.
And he on the cheap. Remember, he was the last
player picked in that
first round. So he's going to make I think it's somewhere $5 million in his whole rookie contract before he gets to his fifth-year option, which is 20-something million. So, he earned everything they want. Last thing before we go into the previews. Titans actually finding themselves a defense.
Mm-hmm.
We thought last week was a fluke, when they beat up on the Colts. Because, it's Carson Wentz.
Mm-hmm.
But they just made the Rams look bad in L.A.
Mm-hmm. And we saw a brief
Peterson.
Exactly. Score. AP.
But something is amiss in LA. I can't put my finger on it, but something is amiss with the Rams. Now, I don't know if they're reading their press clippings. I don't know, if McVay is thinking he's this genius offensive guru or what. Well, he obviously he thinks that, but something is amiss because that team just. Well, first of all, I don't think they're as good as they've advertised, and I think they're vastly overrated. I definitely don't think they're the best team in the NFC West. I would say that would go to the Cardinals, obviously. The record you are what your record indicates, and they
punched the Rams in the mouth already.
Right
there, you go. But I have to give the Titans credit. I won't give Tannehill credit because he's second.
But Ed, before you go to that though, so what is actually wrong with the Rams? Because they got some explosive pieces on offense. Why aren't they scoring more points?
Right.
Well, the running backs are just okay. Don't forget they lost the star of running back.
Right.
The kid out of FSU, I can't remember his name, but he was gone before it even got started. Their left tackle was 40.
Mm-hmm. But you still got some outstanding wide receivers, a good tight end, and your quarterback can throw downfield. So why they not stretching the field?
When they run up against a team that actually has DBs that can get physical with Cooper Kupp and
Woods or Jefferson.
Woods.
That's
a problem for them.
But isn't that what your coaches are for, to produce a scheme that's going to allow you to get them open so that they can be effective? Why aren't they changing up when they see who they're matching up against?
But at the core, that team is a play action team. At the core, that offense is predicated on a good back. They don't have any back. I don't even know who is their running back.
Sony Michel, I think.
Yeah, they're doing running back by committee and nobody's taking the reins. So, they're missing a big piece of their offense, and they're relying too much on the new quarterback to carry the team, and they got punched in the mouth. I think it was just a bad game. They're still 7-2. I think they just had an off night, and the Titans literally came in and punched them in the mouth, and they weren't prepared for it.
But they may be in line to actually still reap the rewards of that, because I think Beckham wasn't claimed, so he's now an unrestricted free agent, and he could possibly go to the Rams.
But receivers is not their problem.
I know, but I mean, just another asset for Stafford to have to, you know.
But don't they still got Deshaun Jackson?
No, they let Deshaun Jackson go. And the reason why they let Deshaun Jackson go wasn't enough balls for him, because Cooper Kupp is getting 60% of the balls.
Mm-hmm.
They already had the other guy who has a captain on his chest complaining that he needs some more balls. They don't give Higbee, the tight end, enough catches. So that would be terrible to go to the Rams. Just like I don't think it would make sense for OBJ to go to Seattle. They've got two basic number one receivers there.
Lockett.
Now, if OBJ, it all depends on what OBJ wants.
Right.
He says he wants to play for
a championship contender,
a team that's got playoff contention and a good quarterback.
Dallas, maybe.
No, he doesn't fit in Dallas.
I'm just throwing teams out there.
I'm just telling you, the perfect fit that I see.
Green Bay.
No.
Miami.
He needs to go to Las Vegas.
The
Raiders. Oh, yes.
They just signed Jackson
for nothing, for peanuts.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's true.
Come on, Deshaun. Deshaun's just afterthought.
Yeah, it would have to be the AFC as far as I can see, because the AFC, no one knows. I mean, the Ravens are up top. The Ravens
are another option. He could come to Baltimore and be the number one. He's not going to get all the balls, but he would change their offense.
Mm-hmm.
He would change their offense.
He would complain. I don't see him.
He's going to complain wherever he go.
Well,
so it'll be interesting to see how that works out. He is now a unrestricted free agent. They say he's going to take a couple of days and talk with a couple of teams and actually talk about how they envision him and how he envisions himself, so he can try to find the right fit.
Y'all suffered last night.
Hey, W's a W.
Y'all won by luck.
There's no luck in sports.
I hate you. So a couple of games to look forward to this weekend. The Ravens come right back after Sunday. They're on Thursday night against the Dolphins.
That's an easy win.
Should be.
But you can't say easy wins this year.
You can say it, but if they can't back it up, then yeah, you're right. But
teams overlook teams and end up catching that hell.
What Miami got?
You got Bucks at Washington. Washington, I know they haven't been playing well, but they
Another
did play
easy win.
They played them tight last year, so it'll be interesting. Both teams coming off a bye. Saints and Titans.
Titans.
I don't know what the hell wrong with the Saints.
Drew Brees is sitting home or in
no quarterback. Yeah.
Browns and Patriots, the favorite 1 o'clock game for me.
That should be a good game.
That's going to be an interesting game. Now that your boy Baker's got his emotions down after a week of drama, how's he going to play in game 2? And if Chubb can't play and he's got to take the pressure,
man, Belichick.
Is Kareem Hunt back yet?
No.
Vikings at Chargers is one of the early 4 o'clock games.
I am never going.
Yo, boy, Kirk might do something.
Seahawks at Packers, another one.
Packers.
Your boy Aaron probably will be back. We're gonna have Russ back, so that'll be an interesting game. And then Sunday night's Chiefs at Raiders. Should be a good game. And Monday night's Rams at 49ers. And
Rams.
If 49ers get blown out again, then I think the talk starts heavy. Kyle Shanahan might have to go at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. He ain't going nowhere.
So that's all we got about football. Let's talk a little bit about the NBA real quick before we get up out of here. I know it's only been 10, 11 games played depending on the team. It's early. It's only 12% of the season. It's early. Golden State's 9-1.
It's early.
Your boy Steph is averaging 27, 6.6 assists, 6.6 rebounds, 1.5 steals per game. And last night, he made a statement because you know that they said that Ice Trey was Steph 2.0. So
people need to stop that.
He needed to show people what Steph 1.0 was and gave him 50 with 10 assists last night. But Golden State's got 4 players averaging double figures, 3 other players averaging over 7 points a game. And they ain't got Clay back yet or Wiseman. Just saying.
I mean, but look at their schedule. Look who they played.
I hear you. I hear you.
I mean, you can only play who.
But look who they played. I mean,
your Lakers are
that was the
falling
only team
apart.
Well, not falling apart. We're just hitting a rough patch. We don't. All of our players are not healthy.
That's what I'm saying. That's going to be an issue all year.
I mean, can we give a shout out to the Wizards? Can the Wizards get some love?
The Wizards. First of all, we got to give a shout out to the 76ers. All the drama they've been going through, they lead the East at 8-3. But you got the Heat. Got to give a shout out to the Wizards and the Bulls are only a half game behind. And then the Nets and Knicks are 1 game back. So it's a lot of teams still figuring itself out. But the Wizards
it's still early. Yeah,
it's still early. But I like the chemistry that the Wizards are playing with.
Oh yeah, I mean this just makes me even more mad at Frank Vogel that he wasn't able to use Montrezl Harrell the way he was supposed to in LA because this
Kuzma.
Kuzma. Hollywood have got Kuzma, so I mean, Kuzma was already gone. But Harrell, like you don't use Harrell like that entire Phoenix series last season, and you see what he's doing in Washington right now. That's an indictment on you.
And he's become the leader of the team.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see these young teams figure itself out. Charlotte has kind of dipped back down a little bit after their early start, but the Bulls are playing some real good basketball themselves. And the Bulls are long and athletic.
Don't you start with me, BJ. Look who the Clippers played. Who did the Clippers play? Don't get me started, BJ. It's not there. Tonight's not the night.
So, we will get into more NBA talk as the season gets on, but it's interesting.
One other team to mention is the Raptors without Kawhi and doing it just with Siakam and Van Vliet.
Siakam hadn't been playing. He just played his first game. He just played his first game last week. So, I'm surprised Toronto. Van Vliet has been carrying that team and doing it very well. So, they got some good young players and rebounders. So, it should be an interesting NBA season. And as long as the Nets got to deal with that Kyrie Irving issue, and I thought I heard that the mayor-elect said he wasn't planning on changing
he ain't
the mandate.
So
that's a problem.
And Harden's, we don't know what James Harden is going to be out on the floor, so that's another problem for Brooklyn. But like you said, early in the season, so things will probably kind of radiate back to the mean come Christmas time.
So we will check back in another 10, 15 games and let y'all know. Shout out to college basketball. For all you college basketball fans, college basketball kicks off officially tonight. Both women and men's basketball game. Shout out to the ladies. The ladies had a top 5 match off the jump. The University of South Carolina held off NC State in a 1-5 matchup. South Carolina went to NC State and beat them. So, shout out to Dawn Staley and the Lady Gamecocks. They did their thing. All right, fellas, it is time for us to get up out of here. It's time for these final posts of the evening. J3, why don't you shout us out first?
Salute to all my veterans. Thank you for your service.
Absolutely. What you got for me, Sense?
A couple things. First of all, to echo the sentiments of J3, shout out to all the veterans. You appreciate it. Shout out to my high school, Archbishop Carroll, who just completed their first undefeated season since 1992. So shout out to them. I know the conferences are different and all, but trending back to the direction we need to. And lastly, shout out to those Miami Hurricanes who have beaten 3 ranked opponents 3 weeks in a row. That wasn't highlighted. So, the U is trying to make a little, step back too.
Trying to say the coach's job. That's what they're trying to
do. Hey, however you want to do it.
I feel you. What you got for me, Ed?
Man, look, everyone. I just want everyone to stay safe and make it to next week. Can't wait to see you guys again. Look, the 2020 draft for the Raiders has been abysmal. These young kids, and I call them kids because they are. These young kids are seemingly out of control, and I hope that there's that they start taking advantage of the resources that are available to them and actually take instruction and training and advice and stay clear of this nonsense. They're impacting not only their lives but other people's lives, and it doesn't make sense. So that's all I got.
And I would like to end by also saying thank you. We appreciate all the veterans out there. Special thanks to our brother J3. I appreciate your service, my partner, being a veteran that served on the front line. So thank you. Also have a shout out. 2 ladies that are very important to me are going to be celebrating their birthday on Veterans Day. My aunt, my daddy's sister, Aunt Sadie, I love you, appreciate you. Happy birthday. And my sister from another mother, one of my many sisters from another mother, Mrs. I ain't even going to do that to her. Leslie, I love you. Happy birthday. I'm going to give you a call, see if we can hook up and do our breakfast thing. So happy birthday to you ladies. And to all the people who are going to be celebrating birthdays this week, happy birthday. That includes me too.
That's you on Friday.
So.
Yes, sir.
Oh, same birthday. Same day as my sister. My sister celebrating her birthday on Friday.
Yes, sir.
Too.
So to all the Scorpios out there, enjoy yourselves. All right, that's the show for this week. As always, we'd like to thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate your time and opportunity to share our positions on sports with you. We'll be here next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Like clockwork. You can just pencil us in your calendar. We are there. But if you can't catch us live, you can always catch us. If you like podcasting, go to your favorite podcast site, punch in Positions on Sports Talk Show. You'll find a list of shows that you can catch up on. You can hit us on our Facebook page. We uploaded shows to our Facebook page and, of course, our YouTube channel, Positions on Sports Talk Show. Again, stay safe out there. Please remember we're still in COVID. We want to see you next week, and we'd love to hear from you. We out. Peace.
See ya.